Good morning. Thank you all for coming. It's a wonderful day, and we're so glad you would share it with us. You folks, come on in. There's places to stand back over here if you'd like. Some in the shade. Come on in. So, what is Oregon California Trails Association? OCTA's mission is to, I'm going to read this, is to initiate and coordinate activities relating to the identification, preservation, interpretation, and improved accessibility of extant rut segments, trail remains, graves, and associated historic trail sites, landmarks, artifacts, and objects along the overland western historic trails, roads, routes, branches, and cutoffs of the Trans-Mississippi region. That was all one sentence. The Colorado Cherokee Trail chapter is OCTA's chapter in Colorado, based in Denver. So why should we preserve the Pioneers' Trails? Just as we are what we eat, we are also comprised of all past events that have shaped who and what we are today. As a nation among nations, as a people, as generations of a given family, and as individuals. We are who we are in large part because of our past. It behooves us to know our past, collectively and individually. Preserving the old trails our ancestors used to begin a new life in the West is one important aspect of our collective and individual responsibility to our past and to our future. So why is OCTA in Colorado if it's an Oregon California Trails Association? As most of you know, only a short segment of the Oregon Trail actually passes through the extreme northeast corner of Colorado. So why is OCTA interested in this site west of Loveland? Well, it's because the only north-south trail connecting the Oregon Trail, which going across America to the north, and the Santa Fe Trail, which goes across in the south, ran along the Rocky Mountain Piedmont and directly through this site. Over the decades of its use, different segments of it were relocated more than once due to availability of grazing, of water, of ever-deepening wagon ruts in some locations, of Indian ambivalence or hostility, and to population growth and changes. And it's been called by several names as well. But generally it's known as the Cherokee Trail, which later became the Overland Stage Route. Mariano Medina chose to settle where the trail crossed the Big Thompson River because he had stopped here years earlier and admired the site, and because the road would surely soon be packed with increased traffic due to the 1858 gold strike west of what would become Denver City. That year was the year that Mariano brought his family and several other families to stop permanently at what had been an old trapper's camp along the river. So who was Mariano Medina? Mariano was an old trapper of Castilian Spanish descent, a frontiersman of legend, an expert marksman and horseman, a scout for the army, was illiterate but fluent in 13 languages, a family man and a devout Catholic, and he was the Big Thompson Valley's first settler. Today's ceremony culminates the hopes, the dreams, and years of effort of a couple of Loveland historians who came before us. First Harold Dunning and Zethel Gates. I'm sure they are watching with smiles. Let's continue their work and together make this a pivot point for the historical education of future generations of Lovelanders. Thank you.
The Cherokee Trail chapter of OCTA became interested in the Medina Family Cemetery when Jesse Rodriguez received OCTA's Friend of the Cherokee Trail Award at OCTA's 27th Annual Convention, which was held in Loveland in August of 2009. Jess received this award for his agreement to donate the 3/4 of an acre that contains the Medina Family Cemetery to the Loveland Historical Society once his development plans for the area surrounding the cemetery were approved by the city of Loveland. Significantly, one of the presentations at that August 2009 convention was on Mariano Medina, and one of the convention-related tours was a visit to this very site, the Medina Family Cemetery. Following the convention, the Colorado Trail chapter received $2,000 in profits from its efforts to host the convention. Camille Bradford, who was then the president of the Colorado Cherokee Trail chapter, asked for volunteers for a marking committee to decide how to use this $2,000 to mark historic Colorado trails. After a number of email exchanges, the marking committee members decided that contributing in some way to the preservation and restoration of the Medina Family Cemetery would be an appropriate use of that $2,000, especially since the members of the Loveland Historical Society were so helpful during Octa's 2009 convention in Loveland. So I'm going to read you the members of the marking committee, which I agreed to chair. If any of those members are here today, and I think there's only one, would they please stand as I call their name? Richard Dyche, Jack and Pat Fletcher, Roger Hanson, Patrick Serena, Bruce Watson, and Bruce is here. That counts as standing. Lee and Jane Whiteman. In April 2010, the Medina Cemetery Committee of the Loveland Historical Society chose a hardscape and landscape design for the cemetery. That plan included a place for a trail-related plaque in the northeast corner of the preservation site, which is what this is. At that point, the marking committee decided that providing that trail-related plaque would be a perfect way to use at least part of the $2,000 from the chapter's profits from the 2009 Octa Convention. While waiting for the city of Loveland to officially accept Jess Rodriguez's development plan for the 13 acres surrounding the cemetery, Sharon Dadhauer and Bill Myrath began looking for a large boulder on which the trail-related plaque could be mounted once it was created. Loveland City Councilman Darrell Clausen got permission for them to look in the boulder storage areas of two of Loveland's golf courses. With Councilman Clausen's help, they found a perfect granite boulder, this guy, in the boulder storage area of Loveland's Mariano Medina golf course, which was, of course, a perfect place to find something for the Mariano Medina cemetery. Councilman Clausen then got the city of Loveland to agree to donate the boulder for use at the cemetery. Following the city's acceptance of Jess Rodriguez's development plan on June 18, 2012, Jess gave the deed for the 3/4 of an acre containing the cemetery to the Loveland Historical Society. Once the cemetery officially became the property of the Loveland Historical Society, Richard Dyche began working on the two maps that would be included on the plaque: Pioneer Trails at Namaqua and early northern Colorado trails. And that blue sheet of paper that some of you have shows the plaque. And Sharon Dadhauer began working on the accompanying text. And I would like to thank both of them for their efforts, which are permanently preserved here, and you'll see it in a minute. The members of the marking committee, whose names I earlier listed, provided input on both the maps and the text. Once we were happy with the contents of the text and the maps, Novacolor in Ogden, Utah, which is a company that makes all of Octa's plaques for trails and trail-related graves and cemeteries, began work on this 18 by 26 plaque that we'll show you in a couple of seconds. While the plaque was being created on November 9, 2012, Councilman Clausen arranged for the city of Loveland to move the granite boulder to its current location at no cost to the Loveland Historical Society or Octa's Colorado Cherokee Trail chapter. On January 9, 2013, the plaque arrived at the Loveland Museum and Gallery, and prior to today's ceremony, Bill Myrath and Mike Perry installed it on this boulder. Thanks to the donations of time and effort that I just talked about, the Colorado Cherokee Trail chapter spent only $1,078.57 out of the original $2,000 that it had allocated to make the trail-related plaque. The marking committee then recommended that the remaining $921.49 be donated to the Virginia Dale Community Club to help pay for the restoration and stabilization of the Virginia Dale Stage Station, which is the only remaining stage station on the Overland Trail in Colorado. In fact, on February 9, 2013, the Colorado Cherokee Trail chapter voted to donate an even $2,000 to the important effort of preserving the Virginia Dale Stage Station. The Colorado Cherokee Trail chapter is honored to be allowed to be part of the extremely important effort of preserving and restoring the Medina Family Cemetery. My husband Dwayne and I began researching and writing a book about the graves and cemeteries in Larimer County back in 2000, and learned from Bill Myrath in May 2007 about the original Medina family cemetery and the need to preserve and restore it. We too have been honored to play a small part in helping Bill and Sharon and the Loveland Historical Society fulfill the fervent wish of Harold Dunning and Zethel Gates that the old cemetery be returned to its original glory. This is the plaque.